Jack was called to a major fire at a family home. When he got there, he was told that there was a strange cat inside, so immediately went in and rescued the poor creature. When he came outside, he was shocked by the appearance of the cat, immediately took the cat to the vet, and turned pale when the vet said, "We have a big problem." Then this happened. Not all firemen would put their lives on the line, but Jack was one of the few exceptions. Throughout his years on the team, he had become notorious for risking it all to save as many lives as possible, and he was very often successful with his attempts. And today he would get another chance to be a hero. When he and the squad arrived at a house fire that had already consumed most of the building, the neighbor told them that the family was on vacation, but that their cat was still inside. She was taking care of it while they were away. The chances of the animal still being alive were slim, but Jack was still willing to take a chance on it. While the other firemen were trying to put out the fire on the first floor, Jack rushed in through the newly created path and started to look for the animal. The place was filled with fire and smoke, and every second that he did not see the animal, he started to lose hope. But luckily the neighbor gave him some useful information. She had told Jack that whenever the animal was afraid, it would hide under the couch in the living room. This felt like Jack's only chances he could not see. Jack took a deep breath, and with a strong kick, he managed to topple the couch over. And to his relief, he saw a scared tiny cat huddled up under it. He did not hesitate a moment to pick it up, as the last thing he wanted was for it to run away from him. And he needed to get it out of there as soon as possible. He could not go back the same way he came, as the path had been engulfed in flames again. He looked around and knew that he would only have one chance at this. And he held the kitten tightly and made sure it was protected. He then charged at the tall window and rammed himself through it. Luckily, gave way immediately, and Jack got outside. He landed on his back, making sure the kitten got out unharmed. Another fireman immediately made his way over to them and helped Jack get away from the fire. The kitten, meanwhile, was struggling to get out of his grip. It clearly still had some strength left in it. Now that Jack had managed to make it out of the burning building, he could finally have a good look at the animal he just rescued. He hoped it was not burned or hurt too much, but when he looked at the creature's face, he almost dropped it out of pure shock. And he had never seen anything like this before, and this cat did not look normal. It did not look like it had sustained any injuries from the fire, although you never know if it had breathed too much smoke, but its face looked extremely strange. Was this some sort of birth defect? Or was there something else going on with the cat? But luckily, the neighbor was still there as well to answer some questions. She was very relieved that the cat was all right, but did not have much additional information about the cat's appearance. She had been just as surprised about it as Jack when she first saw it, but had not been in a position to ask for it. The truth is, her neighbors had actually only moved into the house that had just burned down about 2 months ago. And apart from the occasional wave in passing, she had not really spoken to them in this time. The first real contact she had with them was when they asked her if she could take care of their cat for this week. She had been surprised that they would ask this to basically a total stranger. But she loved animals and thought this was also a good chance to start getting more contact with her neighbors. So without even seeing the cat, she agreed to take care of it. And she had not spoken to them ever since. They had only been away for 3 days by now. She'd actually tried to call him twice this time already to ask some questions, but both times the phone was not answered and she had not gotten a call back. And she estimated the chance of them picking up the phone at this time to be even slimmer. Of course, she and Jack still gave it a try, but no luck. Jack could not help but be really surprised by the actions of these homeowners. How could you not be in contact with the person taking care of your pet for 3 whole days? Things like this made his blood boil even more than the flames coming out of the house right now. It did not take the other firefighters long to put out the fire. They had made sure it did not spread to any other of the buildings around it, but the house itself had gone up in flames. There was not much left to salvage from it. The owners needed to be informed, but as the neighbor predicted, this could very well be an uphill battle. But Jack did not really care anymore, in all honesty. His focus was now firmly on this strange-looking kitten. The neighbor offered to take the animal in for now, but Jack did not want to burden her with that. Well, besides that, he was too curious anyway as to what was really going on with this kitten. To make sure the kitten was all right, he needed to bring the animal to the emergency veterinarian. It did not look like the animal was injured in any way, but he wanted to make sure that it had not inhaled too much smoke. And maybe the vet could also tell him something about the condition of the cat. Jack called ahead, but was bitterly disappointed by the answer he got. They were very busy at the moment. If the cat was still doing everything it was supposed to, then it would be better for him to come at tomorrow. They could simply not. Jack did not have many other options as there were no other emergency vets in the area. He had a decision to make. Either he could bring this cat to a shelter and be done with it, It was not supposed to be his problem. Or he could take it home and have it spend the night with him before bringing it to the vet. And with no other emergency vet options nearby, Jack faced a difficult choice. He looked at the scared, unique-looking kitten, still cradled in his arms. The thought of leaving it at a shelter troubled him deeply. He couldn't bear the idea of against the backdrop of the charred remains of the burned house. Jack made his decision. He knew it wasn't a conventional choice, but he couldn't leave the kitten's fate to chance. He was resolved to take the animal home for the night, ensuring its safety and comfort until the vet visit in the morning. When Jack arrived home with the enigmatic kitten, he was met with an unexpected reaction from his wife, Sarah. She looked puzzled and mildly concerned as she stared at the peculiar creature in Jack's arms. Her initial words were hesitant. "Jack, what on earth is that?" Jack explained the dramatic rescue, the fire, and the kitten's condition, omitting the part about the vet's ominous comment. Sarah, although not thrilled about the unexpected guest, couldn't ignore the sympathy that welled up within her. She reluctantly agreed. "All right, just for one night, but it stays in the garage." As night fell, Jack set up a cozy corner in the garage for the kitten. He placed a makeshift bed, a small dish of water, and a plate of cat food nearby. He decided to keep a watchful eye on the kitten throughout the night, wanting to ensure its safety. In the dimly lit garage, Jack stayed awake, periodically checking on the kitten, helped but worry about its health, wondering about the mystery behind its unusual appearance. As the hours passed, the kitten remained surprisingly calm, and Jack found himself growing attached to the enigmatic feline. In the stillness of midnight, Jack sat beside the kitten, who seemed strangely at ease in his presence. He noticed the kitten's unique eyes, which gleamed like precious gems in the darkness. He couldn't help but wonder about the origins of this rare feline and the secrets it held. And to keep the kitten company, Jack softly hummed a lullaby, hoping it would help the animal feel safe and loved. In those quiet moments, a bond began to form between them, an unspoken connection forged amid uncertainty. Jack's heart swelled with compassion for this extraordinary cat. As the first light of dawn pierced through the garage window, Jack carefully checked on the kitten. It had made it through the night, seemingly unharmed. Relieved, he prepared for the trip to the vet. He cleaned up the makeshift bed, freshened the water, and readied the kitten for their journey. In the morning light, the kitten's uniqueness was even more apparent. Its eyes shimmered with a mysterious allure that left Jack in awe. He knew it was time to seek professional advice about the cat's condition. With determination, he loaded the kitten into his car, ready to uncover the truth behind this extraordinary feline. The next morning, Jack arrived at the veterinary clinic much earlier than his scheduled appointment. He wanted to ensure that the kitten received the best care possible. And with the kitten in his arms, he stepped into the bustling clinic, still wearing his fireman's uniform. The receptionist greeted him warmly but seemed intrigued by the unusual. As Jack waited in the clinic's reception area, he noticed curious glances from fellow pet owners. They couldn't help but steal glances at the kitten, whose unique appearance was impossible to ignore. Some whispered among themselves, speculating about the feline's origins. The commotion around the kitten began to grow as more people arrived at the clinic. Word had spread quickly, and children pointed excitedly, and adults exchanged hushed conversations about the mysterious creature. Jack found himself bombarded with questions from inquisitive onlookers. They asked about the kitten's breed, its condition, and how he had come to rescue it from the fire. Jack did his best to answer, revealing only what he knew about it. The clinic's veterinarians had taken notice of the commotion in the waiting area. Their interest was piqued as they observed the kitten from afar. It wasn't every day that a cat with such an unusual appearance walked through their doors. They exchanged intrigued glances, silently discussing the need to examine this exceptional feline more closely. The kitten, amid the growing curiosity of the clinic's visitors, Jack received unexpected news. The receptionist informed him that his appointment had been moved up due to an emergency case. Anxious anticipation gnawed at him as he carried the kitten into the examination room. The sudden urgency left him wondering what the vet had discovered about the kitten's enigmatic condition and how this change of schedule might impact its chances of recovery. In the waiting room, the crowd's hushed conversations continued. Jack's fellow pet owners exchanged worried glances as they observed his departure with the kitten. The air was charged with uncertainty as they awaited Jack's return. Desperate and whispers of concern filled the room, and the atmosphere was thick with tension. Inside the examination room, Jack and the kitten were met by a vet wearing a notably serious expression. The vet's demeanor was a stark contrast to the earlier curious onlookers. Jack's heart sank as he sensed that something was amiss. The room grew heavy with tension, and the mysterious kitten gazed up at him, its eyes holding a secret yet to be unveiled. The weight of the situation bore down on Jack as he prepared for what lay ahead. Seated across from Jack, the vet glanced briefly at the kitten before locking eyes with Jack. His tone was low and serious as he said, "You have a big problem." Jack's mind raced, and 1,000 questions swirled at his head. What had the vet discovered? What did this ominous comment mean for the kitten's future? Jack braced himself. Jack was taken aback by the vet's cryptic statement. He stammered, "What do you mean, a big problem?" The vet's expression remained stern as he began to ask probing questions about the kitten's origins. Jack explained the rescue from the fire and how he had found the kitten. The vet's questions delved deeper, hinting at a hidden truth that Jack had yet to grasp. The room grew tense, the answer to the mystery looming on the horizon, and Jack's role in it became increasingly uncertain. The vet's gloved hands gently examined the kitten's features. His face grew somber as he spoke. This kitten isn't just unique, it's incredibly rare. Its striking appearance isn't a mere birth defect. It's a result of a carefully engineered genetic mutation. Jack's shock was palpable. The vet explained that such engineered mutations were often pursued for profit, which raised troubling questions about the kitten's origins. The vet's revelation led Jack to ask a crucial question. "How did you know about this kitten's condition before I brought it here?" The vet hesitated, then admitted that he had encountered similar cases before, involving kittens with strikingly unusual appearances. He had assumed that authorities had dealt with the issue, but it seemed that these unscrupulous breeders were still operating. Jack's mind raced as he realized the implications. Who could own a kitten like this? He wondered aloud. The vet explained that such unique kittens were often sought after by unlicensed breeders looking to profit from their rarity. However, ethical concerns had led to strict regulations on their ownership, and it was illegal to possess such cats without proper documentation. The vet's concern deepened. He explained that owning and breeding cats with engineered mutations could lead to serious health issues for future generations of felines. He emphasized the importance of tracing the kitten's ownership to prevent further genetic manipulation. The vet believed the police needed to be involved immediately to investigate this illicit breeding operation. Finally, the vet unveiled the specifics of the kitten's birth defect. He revealed that the cat's striking eyes were not only the result of a genetic mutation, but also an indication of potential health problems. The kitten's condition was complex and required specialized care, which made it even more crucial to address its origins and ensure its welfare. Jack realized he had unwittingly stumbled upon a significant mystery that went beyond the initial rescue. News of the kitten's unique genetic mutation spread like wildfire. In the days that followed, scientists and geneticists expressed an unusual level of interest in the kitten's genetics. They believed that studying the cat's DNA could provide valuable insights into genetic mutations, sparking hope for medical breakthroughs. The kitten became a subject of intense scrutiny, raising ethical questions about its future. The controversial allure of profit clashed with ethical concerns, casting a shadow over the kitten's fate. Amid the chaos, Jack found himself facing a moral dilemma. He had rescued the kitten from a life-threatening fire, but now its future hung in the balance. Should he keep the kitten, knowing the risks and responsibilities involved, or should he entrust its care to who could ensure its well-being? Well, the weight of this decision weighed heavily on his shoulders. Recognizing Jack's internal struggle, the veterinary team decided to take control of the situation. They believed it was in the kitten's best interest to be placed under their care, away from the public eye and potential exploitation. Jack reluctantly agreed, knowing that the experts could provide the specialized care the kitten needed. With it now in safe hands, the focus shifted to locating its previous owners. The police initiated an investigation to trace the individuals who had illegally possessed and potentially manipulated the kitten's genetics. The search for the owners had officially begun, as authorities aimed to hold them accountable for their actions. As news of the kitten's rescue and the subsequent investigation spread, a disturbing suspicion began to loom. The timing of the house fire, the kitten's unique genetics, and the illegal breeding operation hinted at something more sinister. Investigators started to suspect arson, believing that the fire might have been an attempt to cover up the illicit breeding operation and erase all evidence of wrongdoing. Meanwhile, the kitten found itself in a safe haven, under the watchful care of experienced veterinarians. Removed from the public eye and potential exploitation, it began a new life filled with specialized attention and a chance at a health future. Jack, despite his initial reluctance, knew he had made the right decision to entrust the kitten to professionals who could provide the care it needed and protect it from those who saw it as a source of profit. The kitten's life took an unexpected turn as it adjusted to its new surroundings and the loving care of the veterinary